Hello and welcome in.
Please do not leave your luggage unattended on the station.
Welcome to the show. Hello, welcome in. Jesse Montano, Meghan Angley here. First intermission, Avs, Flames, Avs down 1-0. And Meghan, I'm not even going to say it should be 1-1. The Avs did not deserve for that goal to count. They were sloppy, they were lazy, and therefore it didn't. So they head into the first intermission down 1-0. Meghan, the game started bad, got worse, and then it just felt like the Avs were chasing the Calgary Flames around for about 20 minutes.
Well, I still have some unresolved feelings about the Vancouver game, a game that I think they started well, but then just didn't match the effort of the first period to do enough throughout the rest of it to earn even a goal. Yeah. And so similarly, going into tonight, looking at this first period, it's not instilling a lot of confidence in me that they've turned the page over maybe some of that lackluster effort from the Vancouver game. And the thing is, before the last Vancouver game, the Kiefer Sherwood hat trick that we remember, everybody was sick. And so we accepted the weird result a little bit because the whole team was battling a bug. There's different circumstances now. They're a lot healthier than they were, even though they lose Josh Manson, which you feel his absence in the first period of this game with the third pair of Shillington and DeHaan, both very prone to mistakes. I think some of that is a lot of why I didn't love the first period. They couldn't get out of their own way. And it's not exclusive to just that bottom pairing, but to your point, sloppy is how I would describe that period, to include why they don't get a goal that should have been a good Malinsky goal, but offside. And it's just a sloppy, poor attention to detail that plagued them with 2 delay of game penalties, stacking penalties atop of each other for the 5-on-3, which Calgary capitalizes on. So it's too important right now for the Avs to have just kinds of periods, because there's signs of life at the end of this period. There's still plenty of game left for them to get back in it, find a redemptive goal to make up for the Malinsky one that came off the board. But these are two teams fighting for securing a wild card spot in the West, with Calgary being right behind them in that second wild card spot. And Colorado's chasing Minnesota, who's playing right now, and they were up on Carolina last I checked. And so it's not just that they want to get 2 points tonight to match where Minnesota's at. Minnesota's probably also getting 2 points tonight. Every team has a say on a nightly basis now in the race for more points as they head towards the playoff picture. And that's why it's so important for them to start. I think you said this on a hit recently about finding their identity. This is a team that looks really different from the 2022 Cup team, even though there's retained pieces of that core that are still there that we count on, like Cale Makar and Nathan McKinnon. There's also a lot of different players, and they need to start gelling. And I just want to see more effort and more attention to detail to eliminate some of that sloppiness that shouldn't be in their game at 56? Game 56? 55?
50. Is it 56?
We'll find out.
I feel like it's 56.
It's 56.
Meghan, I that first period coming off of the game, and look, you've worked with me long enough. I work really hard to not live and die by every 20-minute period or every game. These are long seasons. These are long games. There's a lot that happens over the course. We could sit here and rail on these guys for the next 15 minutes, and they come out and play 2 great periods. And, that's fine. This is a team that has the ability to do that. But, to your point about this being game 56, to come out and have the effort like that, where it looks like you've never played together. I'm sorry, Oliver Shillington can't play in the NHL. He's not an NHL player. I know he's missed all this time. That's why he's not an NHL player anymore. He had 3 that I can remember clearly off the top of my head, absolutely egregious turnovers in that first period, including 2 within 10 feet of his own net. Look, Josh Manson's hurt, and I know you can't do anything about that. But this, to me, ups the importance of you have to upgrade on defense. You cannot continue to roll Calvin DeHaan out there. and let alone him with Oliver Shillington. You just can't do it. They showed why in that first period, and especially on a night like tonight, where the Avs clearly didn't have their legs to start, are clearly trying to, chase this game a bit here, starting behind the 8 ball. You're automatically down a full pairing because you just can't play them. Or if you can, it's literally just, can we hold on and survive long enough for us to be able to get one of Sam Girard, Cale Makar, Devon Toews back out there? The sloppiness with the puck on their stick, I thought, was inexcusable for it being as late in the season as they are in. And not to mention, you just got shut out 2 nights ago by a team that's chasing you in the standings. Not for seeding, for the playoffs, to decide whether you're in the dance or not. You get shut out, and hey, Thatcher Demko is great in that first period. It really kind of stifled the Avs. I agree with your assessment that they weren't good enough the next 2 periods after that, anywhere close. But here was a night where you had a chance to come out, respond to another team that is trying to come up behind you in the rearview mirror and catch you in the standings. You had a chance to come out, put a statement in the first period, and get off to a good start, and the Avs just didn't come anywhere close to that. This is a look yourself in the mirror moment in the locker room for this group. You mentioned the penalty kill. The Avs ended the game a couple nights ago by killing off the 5-on-3 in spectacular fashion that ended up not meaning anything, but they immediately put themselves down 5-on-3. Yes, this penalty kill has been good. You cannot continue to expect them to do that.
No, it's been extremely good too over this last stretch, including over a difficult January, which was otherwise not great for this team in their overall record. But the penalty kill has continued to be good, and there's big reasons for that. You've got Mackenzie Blackwood continuing to be excellent in net and bailing them out, especially in the first period. And you've got players who are tryhards, like a Logan O'Connor. And I want to give Devon Toews and Cale Makar some credit. That Vancouver game, Makar just shy of the 30-minute mark and Toews well above it. That's unsustainable. That's the reality.
Mm-hmm.
So the penalty kill is good, but when you have it good, because players like Toews and Makar are kind of the stabilizing defensemen that are out there. Girard has helped a lot, but he's in the penalty box for part of that. Manson's out of the lineup, and Keaton Middleton just can't really be trusted there. Walensky has not gotten enough reps. So in terms of options, that's so much heavy lifting for a Toews and a Makar.
Mm-hmm.
When their nightly minutes are already at capacity, you just can't afford it. Yeah. And I think you get the result like you did in Vancouver when they are pushed to that kind of extreme. I think that these are players who are always on the fringe of playing a lot every night. They're just relied upon in every situation so much. But again, game 56, you don't want to be stressing that any more than you should because you don't have a third pairing that you trust. And it's tough. Like Shillington has not played in 32 games. I didn't expect a spectacular player, but he's trying to silence critics from earlier in the season who questioned whether or not he belonged here. And so it's a really tough debut after missing so much time. It just hasn't given me a lot of trust with how the back end is constructed right now. And I look at the matchups and how not having a third pairing you trust affects the matchups up front.
Yes.
Less possession from lines that are ordinarily very responsible defensively, like the Kelly OC line. Their numbers don't come in looking so great after a period like that. And this isn't necessarily a puck possession line in terms of creating scoring opportunities at every shift, high danger, though Parker Kelly actually had a couple. But that's the difference a third pairing you can't trust makes, is it does affect the forward picture too. And I think that's where the goal scoring on the whole is down when the back end isn't complete.
And you and I were talking the other day at practice about Oliver Shillington, and we were trying to give the benefit of the doubt. This guy's missed so much time, but truthfully, Meghan, I am at the point with Oliver Shillington, like you said, this is we've seen him for 20 minutes, the first time in months. And I'm just, this is not an NHL player anymore. He's missed too much hockey. He's just played his way out of this league, in my opinion. And I know on a night like tonight, you're 100% right. They don't have who else do you play, right? Like, if you're down another defenseman, you're on the road, you've got to play him. But to me, you've got to send him through waivers. You got to send him down to the American Hockey League during this Four Nations break. He does not need to go sit for another 2.5 weeks. You need this guy playing every night if you have any hope of even being able to like use him as a black ace later on, in the playoffs or anything like that. He needs to go down the American Hockey League and he needs to play more. He needs to get the puck on his stick because clearly the NHL level is just moving too fast for him to keep up right now. I want to talk about Mackenzie Blackwood because I thought he was good. It feels like this is another period where the Avs aren't even in this game, if not for the play of Mackenzie Blackwood. I haven't looked at what the final number is, but I imagine that was probably pretty close to double-digit high-danger chances that the Avs were giving up. It felt like every time the Flames entered the zone, they were getting a quality look from inside the home plate area. Your thoughts on Mackenzie Blackwood in that first period?
High-danger chances 6-1 with Calgary, of course, having these 6 opportunities. Yeah. I think, too, some of it was born from turnovers in their own end or soft plays along the wall. That just led to extended zone time in their own end and led to risky saves. At one point, too, communicate. Yes. There was, an unsettled puck in the crease, and it would have been easy for Mackenzie Blackwood to glove it if he knew that's what the intention was.
Yeah.
And so that was a little bit dicey there. But moments like that, he's coming up big and he's getting them saves. And that's what also makes the Vancouver game kind of frustrating is he continues to play great for them and give them more than an opportunity to win, but to win in a dominant fashion if they wanted to. The goal scoring just hasn't been there over this last stretch. And Jared Bednar has acknowledged it. I do think it's a little bit, when you look at PDO and what is probable for the Avs moving forward, I don't think it stays like this forever.
Yeah.
I think that there are some things they're doing process-wise that they'll get rewarded for, but I also have reached a little area of concern that they're a little healthier than we've seen them all year, so the depth is better than it has been, but they're not getting the results. And that's where I go back to the incomplete back end costing them right now. I think that's such a big hole that it's making it feel like this is a team that is so incomplete. I don't feel that way. I think they're very close.
I don't mean to cut you off, but there was a comment that came through the chat saying, this roster still needs a lot. Meghan, I disagree with this comment, and I agree with what you just said. To me, the frustrating part about watching the way this team is playing in that last game against Vancouver and then this first period here is I don't think this team is that far off. You get Val back. I do think this roster needs a couple tweaks still between 100%. Now and March 7th, primarily on the back end there, but I don't think this team is that far off. And that's what makes the performance, the compete level that we saw in that first period, that's what makes you sit there and go, what are we looking at here? Because I really do feel like it's not a matter of caring. I know these guys care, all of them. They care a lot. And it's not a matter of wanting to win. They want to win, and they're putting in the work. You and I see it every day. These guys put in as much work, if not more, than any other team in the league. It's what makes the fact that, for me, it's an intensity, inconsistency issue. Calgary treated the start of this game like a playoff game. Something that we saw the Avs do twice back home. Where is that? Where is that playoff-like intensity that this group has and has the ability to dial it up? They're just not doing it.
That is what concerns me a little bit about the season, and it's been a difficult season. I look at Jared Bednar's structure, and it's very rigid, it's demanding, and it's punishing if there's any passivity in your game. And so if they do get a little bit complacent, it's exposed immediately in a Jared Bednar system.
Yeah.
And I think that's the problem they run into on a nightly basis, where if the intensity is lacking even for 20 minutes, it can cost them the rest of the 40, especially now that they have the goaltending figured out. I think this created a weird sort of, they're not worried about it in the same way. And it took away some of the intensity then to provide the goal support that they once needed to just to get out of a first period or get back into the second period of a game. And I still think that in looking at the core of players here that have had a taste of winning and have also had a taste of losing, they know what a second round exit feels like. That I still have a lot of belief that that intensity exists in this team. And I like the jump and the jolt of life, I think is how you described the addition of the new players.
Yeah.
But this feels like a case of senioritis before you head off into spring break. And I want to beat them up because this is the NHL and they know better. They know that the playoff picture is still on the line. This is the first game in a back-to-back with Edmonton tomorrow. It doesn't get easier.
No.
And these points are going to matter at game 82. They just are. The team has played like a wild card team, some of it out of their control with injuries mounting up all year.
Yep.
But that's the fate that they've been dealt. And so in order to secure a better playoff picture, they need to play like it's, I don't know, the final exam and the passing grade depends on it.
Yeah. Well, and Vaguely Sober with the super chat here, $1.99. He said, hey, there we go. We got the desk super
Nice
chat
job,
lights.
Mark.
We got it. It's he says the intensity's on a beach somewhere already. And that's a little bit to what you just alluded to there, Megan. I'm with you. The concerning part for this to me is if you were the Washington Capitals in terms of where you're at standings wise. All right. Yeah, you got a nice little comfortable lead. It's easy to kind of look past it, want to get towards that break. The Avs are not in that position. You need every last point you can get. We're about to drop the puck in the second period, and they're going to have a chance to bounce back from that first. What do you want to see?
I just want to see them care, because you know who Washington was last year?
Yeah.
A team that needed to care as much as they do this year. You don't want to let a season be the gap of time where you learn this lesson. You want to learn it now, ahead of game 57, so that you can secure the attitude that you need for a playoff performance.
You want to go into this break with a good taste in your mouth. Avs down 1-0 after having a goal called back for offsides at the end of the first. We're ready to drop the puck here on the second period. Avs are going to have a complete 180 in terms of, like Megan was saying, the intensity that they brought in that first period to get back in this one. We'll be back for the second intermission and then again for postgame. We'll talk to you guys here in 20 minutes, see if the Avs can turn things around.